the DCEU was not very successful. So you would think that when James Gunn come in, DC might be safe. They might actually have a universe, a cinematic universe, which might be good, maybe as good as the MCU. And then you are getting stuff like this. Blue Beetle is projected to flop, and they are really confusing now. I can't be the only one thinking that they are really confusing. I'm sure some of you out there are also thinking the same. I mean, think about it. Henry Cavill was fired as Superman. First, fans were really angry that Henry Cavill got replaced as Superman. And by the way, I am not going to hate James Gunn's decision because I think David Corenswet will play a good Superman. I have hope. But I still miss Henry Cavill as Superman, and I think that the way Warner Brothers treated him was kind of dirty. And then they bring in Wonder Woman. And who's playing Wonder Woman? Gal Gadot once again. So this is really confusing. I thought that they were replacing Henry Cavill because they were going to reboot the DCU, so they are going to recast everyone. But they are keeping Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, which is really confusing. Then there's Aquaman 2 coming out, which I don't know how that's going to play out. Again, if you haven't seen The Flash, skip this part, but Aquaman was in the end credit scene of The Flash. So I assume Aquaman 2 is part of this new James Gunn universe, and Jason Momoa is also not getting replaced. So with all these things here and there, with some people being recast, some people just coming back to their old roles from the DCEU, it's really confusing. And it's not just that. Like, The Flash was supposed to reset the entire DCEU to transition into James Gunn's DC universe. And what happens? That movie bombs at the box office. Blue Beetle is about to come up, and the box office projections show that that movie is going to do worse than Shazam 2. And Shazam 2 was a huge flop at the box office from opening weekend, from day one itself. My huge condolences to James Gunn. I think he's a fantastic director, but this is not going well. Like, this is not going well at all for DC. James Gunn's DC universe has a lot of new stuff coming up. There's Swamp Thing and many others, but most notably there's going to be Superman Legacy and Batman and Robin. If these two movies don't do very well, I think this was a huge mistake by Warner Brothers, this new DC universe. I think Warner Brothers should have just stick to letting DC be DC. The DC films have done very well by just being standalone films. The Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, and so many others. And DC is just really, they have to stick to I think it's best that they stick to standalone films. That's where they have excelled at for years already. And ever since they started this shared universe thing that the MCU did, they have been not doing well. Don't get me wrong, I like some of the stuff in the DCEU. I thought Man of Steel was the best film in the DCEU. Then there's Wonder Woman, another great film. And Shazam was a fun time at the theaters, but not many DCEU films were that great. I mean, I'm a fan of Batman v Superman. And if you look at Rotten Tomatoes score, not many people liked that movie. But I loved it, so I think Warner Brothers has to pick up their pace. If not, Blue Beetle is gonna flop. That's not gonna do well for James Gunn's new DC universe. And fans are still angry with Henry Cavill, what they did to Henry Cavill. Okay, I have no problem with David Corenswet. Let me just bring that up again. But Henry Cavill was the perfect cast. I think David Corenswet will do a great job, but how they treated Henry Cavill is still pissing people off, and a lot of people lost interest in DC then already. That's all I have today. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. You guys are always the best.